Hi everybody, welcome back to Art Time Today. I'm Cheryl Smith and I'm going to show you how to do this really fun drawing today. You're going to need paper, either a larger size or a smaller size. If you want to paint on it, you want to make sure it's stiff enough. If you just want to draw, you can even use computer paper today. You'll need some crayons or markers. And I love doing the watercolor paint thing, so I'm going to show you how to do that toward the end. So what we're going to draw today is a scene with sailboats and the ocean or a bay, maybe some mountains if you want to. But the cool thing that we're going to do is show how to make objects in our drawing look close up and far, far away. When we're driving down the road and we see things that are close to us, they look big. But the trees and the things that are far away look really, really tiny. Like right now when I'm looking out my window and I see the mountains on a sunny day. Today is very, very rainy. But when I look at the mountains over there, I could not see a person on the mountain because it's so far away. As things get farther from you, they appear to look smaller. So that's what we're going to do in our little seascape today. We're going to show what we call aerial perspective. It's how things get smaller as they get farther away, and also how they get lighter and grayer as they get farther and farther away. So let's look at a couple of pictures I have. We're going to start out with this one over here. This one is a poster that I got at an art festival in Maitland, Florida a few years back. And it's a poster that the artist painted with Lake Maitland in it and trees, these beautiful cypress trees along the shoreline of Lake Maitland. The trees start at the very bottom and go all the way past the top of the page. You know that they're close to you because they're so big in your vision. As you get higher on the page in a piece of artwork, things are going to get smaller. You can see here's the line of the shore. Then you have the actual lake. Up above that is an island with trees. Now these trees, although they look like about this big, are probably in real life that big as these. And if you look even farther back, a little higher, you'll see a straight line. That's kind of what we call the horizon. It's where it looks like the sky meets the ground. It doesn't really touch the ground, but it looks like it when we're looking at it. So way back here on the horizon line, you can see how the artist made the trees very light gray. And these trees, excuse me, these trees back here are also probably the same size as these trees if we were standing in those trees too. So that's a way to make things look close and far. Here's another one over here by a very famous artist named Claude Monet. Claude Monet was a painter. Oh, I need to back up a little bit. How's that look, Mr. Fred? Can we see everything just right? This is a painting that he did of a seascape. We call it a seascape because there's some ocean in the picture. And the things that he has down on the lowest part have the most detail. They're low on the page. And they're very, very colorful. It's really cool. So you can see the flowers and the umbrella and a guy sitting here with a hat, and he even has a beard. You can see details. As you get higher in the page, the people get a little smaller and less detailed. And as you go back into the ocean part of it, you can see here's a sailboat that's off a little ways. But look at that person is bigger than the sailboat. Not really, but it's how you paint it to appear that way. And then farther up along the horizon, you can see all kinds of ships. Can you zoom in to show these little ships and boats? These are also sailboats, and they're very, very far away, so they look tiny and they look much more gray and with less detail. And then from there on is the sky. We have two great big tall flags, but they're tall because they're close to us. So let's get going. We are going to draw our seascape that'll look something like this today. We'll start out with an island and a tree, and then we'll add boats. And we're going to do big boat, medium boat, teeny tiny boats way in the background. I'm going to do this layer by layer, so we start with the closest and finish with what is farthest behind. So I'm going to use crayon today because I'm really excited that I will actually do a little painting with the watercolor to show you how to do that as well. So this is one that I did with marker. You can see that the colors on this are much more brilliant. I wouldn't paint over the top of this. Come on, little picture. I wouldn't paint over the top of this marker because it would smear. I mean, if that's what you want it to do, that would be okay too. Actually, that we could experiment and do that one day. But you can see we have an island, and then we have the boats as they get farther and farther behind. So markers if you want, make it nice and brilliant, or crayons. And I am going to choose crayons to start with. This one I traced in black after I drew it, and it made it really pop up. So I'm going to start out, and I'm going to kind of draw with the color of the thing that I want it to look like. So we'll start with the island, and I'm going to start down low, not way up high, because I want room for everything. So we're starting with the foreground, the bottom, the closest stuff, down low. So here we go. And it doesn't have to be a perfectly straight thing. This is a beach and sand. It's going to be a little wavy and bumpy. And that's how you can do that. Just kind of let your finger go across, bumpy. If you want to put people and beach towels, and you want to put a cooler and a picnic table and an umbrella, you can do that. You can make your own little beach scene down there if you want to. So here comes the tree. I'm not going to put it dead middle because I want room to put my sailboat. So I'm going to start the tree off to the side. To do the tree, we're going to make two fairly straight lines next to each other. This is a palm tree. Pretty straight trunks, no branches sticking out of the sides. The branches all come booping out the top. There are many different kinds of palms and palm trees, and the branches mostly all just come pushing out the top. It's super cool. So we're going to add a zigzag line, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up, kind of to put the texture on the palm tree. We're going to add a couple of coconuts. Can you see these coconuts, Mr. Fred? Ha! Very cool. And so I'm going to draw a couple of coconuts. 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 coconuts, 3 or 4 coconuts on top. Then I'm going to get a green, and I'm going to draw the palm fronds. I'm going to have the palm fronds coming out of the coconuts. Now, this one I made them go way down. It kind of makes it look like they're blowing in the wind or whatever. So I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to come up and then down. And I'm going to do another one on the other side. And then this one I've gotten pretty close to the top. I don't really have too much room to draw some sticking up. So I'm going to add another one off to the side there and maybe just hold up on those. I kind of pushed myself to the top of the page like that a little bit. You can even make some that just droop down. Then we're going to put the leaves on it, the long skinny leaves that you might see. And they all are kind of pointing down toward the ground. So one of the tricks to making a palm tree look like it's a palm tree is making the little leaves of the palm tree pointing down. And they grow out of this middle stem on both sides. So I'm going to go down this way and down this way. Another way kids have liked to do palm trees is do zigzags. So you do the middle line and then you can do zigzags across it. That's a good way to do a palm tree too. So once we get the palm tree done, we're going to start on the water, but we're going to start at the lowest, closest part to us. So my water, that's a nice dark blue. I want a little bit lighter one. So I'm going to start, so my water is going to be coming a little bit wavy, and it's going to kind of come up onto the beach a little bit. But the water that's closest to you, you guys have been to the beach, the waves are big right where you are, but when you get farther and farther away, the water looks flatter and flatter and flatter. So what we're going to do is now we're going to start adding a boat. So I got my water. I'm going to put a little sailboat. So I'm going to make 2 little lines that kind of come out of the water diagonally and then a line across the top. There are fancier ways to make boats. If you want to do that, feel free. Go right ahead, make a fancy boat. And then we're going to make the mast, the tall mast. It's going to be this boat here. So I'm going to make my mast come up fairly tall, a little bit bigger than the boat is. And then I'm going to make my sails come down, 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 and then they come straight across the bottom. That's where they're attached to the, I don't know the names of things on sailboats very well, but there's the mast in the middle, and then there's the 2 bars that the sails fit on. And that's what this is. So you want to make the sail come way down low and then straight across the bottom. You might even want to put a flag on the top. You can always do that. That's for fun. Next, a little bit more water. So I'm going to now start all the way by my tree. This is when you have to remember you have to jump over anything that gets in your way. Not you jump, your crayon jumps. So here we go. This is the next bit of water. I'm going to still make it a little wavy, but I'm going to run into my tree, jump through the tree, and it's kind of running into that part of the tree, and I'm going to make some little wavy lines all the way across. You can go back now and add a few little wavy lines. Kind of adds the texture in there to make it look like the water might be a little bit rough. Same thing down here. You can make it so that it looks like the water is rough. And I'm going to paint this in a minute, and that'll look cool that way. Okay, time for another sailboat. We're going to make a medium-sized boat right on this line. Just a little medium-sized boat. I'm going to make a sail. Remember, however long your boat is, make the sail just a little bit taller. Straight down, straight across. And then a little flag if you want. This one's getting far away. You're not going to see too many details. And if you want to put like there's people in these boats, you really don't need much of anything except like a little black mark with a little mark, because they're kind of so far away you're not going to be able to really tell if it's a dog or a person. Okay, next, a little more water. So here we go. I'm going to start a little bit higher up the tree. This time I'm going to make it straight and flat like the horizon line would be, where you've seen at the beach where it looks like where the water touches the sky. It's a straight line. It's actually ever so slightly bending because of the curvature of the earth, but our eye can't quite pick that up. It's not quite far enough away. We have to be in space to see that. Then the sailboats that are going to be back there are going to be bitty. And I'm not going to make them orange. I'm going to make them black because they're so far away. So I'm just going to make a little tiny triangle so far away in the distance. Little tiny, and maybe another little triangle over here. Like maybe there's a couple little sailboats back there. But do that, they're going to look far away. Now, sometimes at the beach, you might see mountains. Have you been to a place where when you're on the beach, you can see mountains? I have, but not typically in Florida. Florida beaches are flat with water forever, it seems like. But if you go to the islands or Hawaii or many, many other places, you will see mountains along the shoreline. So I love the look of the mountains in the picture. It kind of adds interest back there. So I'm going to add a couple of mountains. Join me if you'd like. I'm going to start out with like one that's a little bit closer. So I'm just going to do like a little hill, not way up high. Just kind of run that in there. Next, I'm going to make a couple of other tall ones and just kind of let your crayon bump around a little bit. Get as high as you want and then let it kind of bump across. And then I'm going to kind of draw through the tree again, jump over everything that's in your way. And then I think I want another one even farther behind. And I'm going to jump into the tree. Like I said, this tree kind of got in the way a little bit, but that's okay. And so I have kind of a green mountain close and then a couple of purple mountains super far away. At this point, you can add some lines on the mountain to make it look like it's either rocky or maybe it's even a volcano that you can draw. So you can add some lines. It also adds the texture in there. If you want to make these sails look like they're billowing, you can put some little curved lines on the sail. It'll make the sail look like it's curving a little bit. You can color in the tree. You can even put like a little beach towel on your beach if you want to draw. It's a little parallelogram I just drew. But color in for you guys. I'm not going to do a lot of coloring in, but color in your space a little bit. And then if you want to paint, all you're going to have to do is paint right over the top. If you colored with crayon, you can get your paints. Remember, every time you pick a new color, you wash your brush in the water. I'll put my paint water here so we can get a little closer to see it. So I'm going to start out with my ground. Now, just because I colored it brown doesn't mean I have to paint it brown. I might want to paint pink sand. So here I got a little bit of red, and I can paint right across the sand. And I'm going to leave that beach towel unpainted. And after this little red part will dry, then I can go back and color that. Okay, next, the water. And to mix a color, I'm going to put a little blue back on the lid. And I'm going to rinse my brush. And I'm going to get a little bit of green. Twist back and forth. And I'm going to put that right with the blue. And I'm going to paint using the stuff that's on the back. And then I'm going to paint the water. Woo! All the way across. That got a little dark. I'm going to add water to it. It's probably going to drip. Uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. Paper towels. Mr. Fun! We didn't do it in time. Oh, no. We can still get a paper towel because it's going to drip. You're just going to focus in on that drip, aren't you, Mr. Fred? You're so silly. And now look, we have a little puddle on the beach. That has happened before, hasn't it? Okay, good thing you don't have to hold your paper up high like this. Your paper can be flat on your table. And now I can paint right through the tree because that won't show. Now I'm not going to paint right through my boat, though. I'm going to... Uh-oh, it's going to do it again. Let's see if I can get it. Oh, boy. Okay, so I had so much paint and water on my brush. So typically when you do this, the closer water is going to have a little bit of a darker color to it than the water that's farther away. And you can do that. I'm trying to hurry up here a little bit so we don't. And then you can paint in your tree and you can paint on your... paint your little tree, and you can paint the mountains, and you can make it really, really nice. You might even have a picture when you're all finished. I'm making Purple Mountain's Majesty in the background that you might want to even frame in your house so that you have a really lovely little painting. But you can paint right over the top of your crayon. You cannot paint over the top of your marker very well. It'll smear the marker. But once you finish your picture, find a place in your house that you might want to hang it up. Maybe it's in your room, or maybe it's on the refrigerator. enjoy your artwork. Look at it. Reflect upon it. How do you want to make it better the next time? That's what we do a lot of times with our artwork. Well, I'm hoping that you enjoyed today's lesson. I love doing the beach scenes. It always makes me dream of the ocean. I hope to see you next time. But for now, always remember, make time for art time today. Bye-bye.